Hello, everyone. This is Dr. Rawson Buff Carlin with another program of Greater Than Higher Power. And I'm glad that you joined me today. I want to talk about kind of like finding your circle. Like, in other words, where do you fit in? I think it's very important because some people just don't feel like they fit in. There's some people who are part of different cliques and whatever when they're growing up in high school or something, and some are the jocks that play sports and things like that. And then there are others who are really academic and study hard. And there's that group, and there's the fun one. There's the party ones, who get into whatever alcohol and drugs. And there's just different groups. And even in life, it's like that way. Some people, hang out with people who are like entrepreneurs and people who are very helpful and friendly and nice, and others hang out with a crowd, a group of people that maybe aren't so nice. So I want to talk about finding your circle. Where do you fit in? Everybody wants to be a part of something. I heard somebody say, kind of speaking like Italian, says, everybody needs a somebody. And, we're not islands. We're not meant to be by ourselves all the time. And it's good to have others that we can share life with. Especially, growing up, my mother said, birds of a feather flock together. And to be around people who are similar. And in the Christian world, it talks about being with people who are of like precious faith. And that's a good thing to do. But just, where do you fit in? Or some people have a difficult time. They try different things, like where do they fit in? And I think it's important to find where do you fit in? Where do you feel comfortable? What group of people? Where people accept you, you accept them, and life just flows better that way. So it's basically like in a social context. The meaning of kind of being socially fit is the social well-being of a person. This is the desired state of general participation in a society or a community. All right. Social fitness requires taking stock of our relationships and being honest with ourselves about where we're devoting our time and whether we are attending to the connections that help us thrive. That's very important to do. Social fitness and your health. Social fitness is a key component of achieving or working towards human performance optimization, to reach our potential. The level of social fitness can impact many other areas of your well-being, including your physical and mental health, and even your ability to compete with your job tasks or situations. Strong bonds and healthy relationships improve your mental fitness. People who feel connected to others and invested in the relationships are often able to cope with stress better than others when they have others that they feel connected with, that they feel significant around, feel important. Social connections can also help buffer the effects of depression or anxiety and even thoughts of suicide. Meanwhile, people without close relationships or those who have high conflict or unhealthy relationships might actually experience those relationships as stressors themselves. It's good to be at peace. Relationship stress can cause you to turn to unhealthy habits such as drinking alcohol, drug use, isolation, overeating, or whatever to cope. Or even some people get into gambling. I used to have an alcohol and drug problem. I never really had a gambling problem, but I ended up getting in a lot of trouble, and it caused me different problems. But why is there such a strong connection between health and relationships? It sounds simple, but others influence what you do and how you feel. Other people do affect us. Behavior, when you have people in your life who you care about and who care about you, it's often easier to make choices that keep you healthy. It might be because you feel responsible to stay healthy for others, like your children, or because they encourage you to make good choices. For example, a spouse reminding you to take your medication. And sometimes it's the simple social pressures and keeping up with social norms that keep you on track. For instance, not wanting to be the only teammate to fail some test, or not contributing to the rest of the team. So our behavior, it affects our behavior, and also has for purpose, our purpose. The relationships with the people in your life probably help give you a sense of meaning and purpose. They do. Connecting with others can help you feel that you matter, which can help you feel happier. When you've connected, you feel like you matter. Have more gratitude and a more optimistic view of life. And having good relationships with those you regularly interact with can help you to feel more in control of your environment, which reduces stress and helps you feel more motivated. So it's good to have people around that encourage us, and we can encourage them also, and get some support for one another. While positive influences and caring people can positively affect your behaviors and build emotional fulfillment, negative influences can hurt your health. If you are surrounded by those who don't encourage healthy behaviors, have an interest in your health or their own, or inspire purpose, or are unpredictable, your well-being and choices you make can suffer. It's good to be around a warm, caring environment and friends who accept you as you are. That's why it's important to build your social relationship and be thoughtful about who surrounds you, who you're hanging out with. Now, in recovery from alcohol and drugs, because I happen to be a licensed clinical addiction specialist, what I found is they say in recovery we have to think about our people, places, and things. What people do you hang out with? What places do you go? And what things are you around? And so it's important to choose well our circle of friends and basically who we're around to connect. Those who benefit from good relationships have strong family relationships and are connected to others and in their community tend to be physically healthier than those without meaning or even some good social ties. Everybody likes to belong. Nobody likes to feel like they're lonely or by themselves all the time. They're likely to have better cardiovascular health, their hearts and our breathing, lower blood pressure, and less inflammation as well. They also tend to recover from illness and injury more quickly and live longer when we're connected. I hope that you have a great friend or group of friends or people that help you thrive and to grow. Strong relationships matter to your health just as much as losing weight, getting active, sleeping well, and stopping smoking. The reverse is also true. People who experience loneliness or don't feel supported by those around them report more health problems. Those with weak relationships are also at risk for earlier death. Social fitness is the degree to which you assess, build, and optimize relationships and interactions you have with others. The connections that you build with family members, friends, teammates, and those in your community are key to your overall health and ability to perform and be at your best. I mean, it helps your spirit, helps you spiritually also. Healthy relationships are characterized by mutual respect. Give people you respect and the people that respect you. Mutual respect, support, and effective communications. Whereas healthy communications. The health of your relationships and your level of engagement in those relationships impact all other aspects of your well-being. You know, from how much sleep you get to how, what kind of food choices you make, all right, how you recover from illness, stress, and trauma. Whether you're in military service, a spouse or partner or support, but whatever group you're part of, it's important to choose wisely. A good group of healthy people who are a blessing to you, and you bless them too. All right, and then we can actually are better people when we take time to get to know other people and feel good about ourselves being around them. So I think that's very important to do that. All right, so being basically socially fit, or fitting in, to know where you fit in. Where do you fit in? Some people feel like they don't fit in, and it's difficult. We've heard different children, if they move, their family moves, especially those who move more often. It's sometimes you can build some friendships, relationships, and some connections you're comfortable with, and then you get uprooted, and it's hard adjusting to a new environment, a new school, and things like that. But it's important to learn to find out, where do you fit in. All right. So basically, it helps us to be able to engage in productive personal and professional relationships, positively interact with others in our network, in our circle. How is your circle of friends? Who are the people you hang out with? Are they people who are trying to better themselves and better you and help each other out? And I hope that that's what you find, that you discover some people that you fit in with, but not ones, for whatever reason, I grew up and got hooked up with a bunch of street people, or not, basically when I left home when I was 15 and I hung out with older guys that had been in prison, I just got in a bunch of trouble. And we just kind of hung out, we robbed places and just did things that wasn't good, and that's not a good way to live. And I hope you're not down that path. If you are, you can change. And I pray that God will help you make wiser choices and find some good, healthy, wholesome people that will be a blessing to you. All right. Social fitness is like any other area. The more you practice or exercise it, the stronger your relationships will be. It takes work. Relationships take work. Marriages take work. They all do. So how can we begin taking stock of our relationships? Think about it. Who you hang out with. Are you satisfied with that? Or would you rather be with a different group of people? All right. Here's some simple and effective strategies. Nurture positivity. To be as positive as you can. Not a bunch of people who are naysayers and think you can't do this, you can't do that, and it's like you can't drink, smoke, push, dope, jump rope, and do the hoochie-goo. But it's like there's some people who are just not much of an encouragement, and you just don't really fit in. But try to be positive, not people just say, oh, things just aren't going to work out. I know a lot of people suffered through all this COVID stuff, and were isolated, and some people got depressed and anxious, and some people turned to alcohol or drugs in the midst of it because it was a rough time for them. But I'm here to tell you, God has some people for you, some place where you will fit in. And sometimes it's kind of developing what they call a homogeneous group. In other words, people who are like you. Like, I don't know, I had a brother who was like a chess master, and he used to hang around people who played chess. I have a brother, I was just in Ohio, and a brother got inducted into a sports hall of fame for his basketball playing. But he hung out, and he played sports all the time. He was very good in sports. And it really affected his life, and he ended up, doing a lot of coaching, helping a lot of young people, helping them not in college, but semi-pro and all that stuff too. So, and also even in a Christian high school. So invest time and energy in building and sustaining relationships that matter the most to you. You know, what matters the most to you. There are times, that I realize some people don't connect with people. I actually was a pallbearer at a funeral for a young girl. I don't know what she was, like maybe 11 years old, who died, got hit by a car. And I knew her mother, and I knew her sister, well, and the sister was probably like 18 or something, and I knew them, but what happened is, after the 11-year-old died, her older sister, who I knew well, felt bad that she would try to get away from her sister. I wouldn't include her sister in some of the things she was doing. Like she's too young, and that's not a good way to live. And she regretted that. So I want to encourage you, spend time with your family, do things with them, and be a blessing to them. If you have a younger brother or sister, help them to feel important, and it'll help you feel important too. All right, so it's good to get a support network and build it up, uplifting people that can significantly enhance your well-being all around and boost your happiness levels. Another thing that helps, besides nurturing positivity, being positive, that's important to do. Also embrace empathy and active listening. So with empathy, we listen to other people, and we learn to care about their feelings, and have active listening where we take time to really listen to them. Some people don't really take time to really listen to other people. And we all need somebody that we can talk to, and somebody that will listen. Because there's some things we need to bounce off somebody else, and if we do that, it can help us and bless us and give us wisdom, or just help us feel connected. A crucial aspect of social relationships is the capacity to comprehend and emphasize with others. You have to have basically empathy with other people, demonstrating kindness, empathy, compassion. Active listening can fortify relationships and promote effective communications. That's very important to have. By actively listening and displaying empathy, we can build trust, establish intimacy, and foster strong bonds. And I hope that you learn to do that. And, the Bible actually says if you want to have a friend, show yourself friendly. It's learning to be friendly, learning how to talk with people. It's so important to do it. Before, I was like a social retard. I could talk about alcohol and drugs and a life of crime, but I didn't know how to be around regular people. Even after I became a Christian, it took me a while to learn to be able to fit in, because it was just a whole new world for me. So it's good to embrace new relationships and social experiences, stepping outside of our comfort zone at times. All right, meet new people and try novel experiences can broaden your perspective, expand your social network, and sharpen your social skills. It's a great way to challenge yourself and improve your social life. So it's important for all of us to feel connected. Where do you fit in? And you allow other people to fit in. Some people just like they roast others and get on about their differences, and just, and sometimes it's kind of in fun, but I want to tell you, sometimes that can hurt too. So be careful how you speak to other people. Work on struggling relationships. It's important to recognize when a relationship is struggling and take steps to repair it. This involves having open and honest communication and working together to find solutions to issues that have arisen over time. By putting in the effort to repair a relationship, you can show that person they are valued in your life. Show them that you're valued, that they fit in, and also that you can fit in with them. All right? And then it's important. I think it's great to be able to give back to the community, like volunteering somewhere, helping out. You know, whether it's with children or the elderly, but there are people who need others, and volunteering is a good way of doing it. I mean, it's great to, I don't know, coach a little kid's soccer team or baseball team or basketball team or whatever it might be, and spend some time with them, and then after a while their face will light up when they see you. They'll be glad to see, oh, the coach is here. And you'll be able to bond with them, but also not only help them with their physical skills, but also to help them to attain good values in life. So to me, that's so important. So give back to the community and contribute to other people in your life. To me, that's so important to do that. Now, it's challenging to build strong and quality relationships, but don't give up. Work at it. It can be worth it. Some common challenges include fear of rejection. Nobody likes to be rejected. We like to be accepted in a circle, and when we want to fit in. Some people have difficulty building trust because sometimes it's things that have happened to them. People who have let them down, and that does happen. Or lack of social skills. I didn't know how to talk. I'm telling you. When I became a Christian, it took me a while to learn to interact with other people, and I used to feel very awkward. However, by setting goals and tracking progress, these challenges can be overcome, and your social life can be improved. All right. So try to participate in events, in situations with other people, and you can learn to build quality relationships. I remember one time I went to a function. I was on vacation, but I went back to a hometown where I grew up in Findlay, Ohio. And while I was there, anyways, the church announced there was a banquet. And it was at actually a hotel. And I was invited, and I went there, and I looked, and there was a man that I hardly knew. His wife, who had passed away, was one of my school teachers, a Spanish teacher. And she was very kind to me. But he saw me enter this room where the banquet hadn't started yet. And he looked over. Now, my nickname is Buff, and that's what most people call me. And he looked and saw me, and he got up and came over and shook my hand and said, "Hi, Buff, it's good to see you. What's happening with you?" Things like that. And you know what? I made a mental note. I'm going to do that to people. I'm going to help people feel welcome. And so I just added that to my social repertoire, But it's good to do that, all right? But we can learn to get along with other people and learn to make them feel welcome. So observe, and then also from it, learn from those experiences. Now I'm going to share some scriptures with you. Like, for instance, in Romans chapter 12, verse 1 and 2, it talks about, be not conformed to this world, but be transformed by the renewal of your mind, that by testing you may discern what is the will of God, what is good and acceptable and perfect. And actually it talks about us sometimes getting involved, with other people, but not conform to the world. Some people just do what other people do. Other people do something, so they just feel, oh, okay, they're doing it, so I'll do it. Well, is it something good to do? And especially if it's part of the world system and where people are involved and I don't like all this kind of stuff where people are quick to criticize other people in this woke atmosphere it seems like we're going through in our society today in America. But it's very important uh, not to be conformed with what the world, everything that they do, especially if it's not a good thing to do, if it's not healthy. All right, so we're supposed to show what is the good and perfect and acceptable will of God. So to me, that's very important. Now, in 2 Corinthians chapter 6, verse 17, it says this. It says, therefore go out from their midst. These are people who aren't the best kind of people to be around. Therefore go out from their midst and be separate from them, says the Lord, and touch no unclean thing. It says, then will I welcome you. All right, so sometimes we have to come out from certain situations. We have to walk away from them, not hang out with them. You know, because I've been involved as an addiction therapist, I'm also a mental health counselor, and I've also pastored churches. But because I've seen it, I know there are people who have gone to like parties, you know, and they're there partying, and then people are trying different drugs, and I used to go to rave parties and things, and then what happened? Some of them would overdose. There was why some of them overdose and die just because they wanted to be cool and wanted to try something. Well, be careful what you try and what you do with yourself. Now, another thing is 1 Corinthians chapter 12, verse 18. But now, as things really are, God has placed and arranged the parts in his body, each one of them, just as he wills, and saw fit with the best balance of function. We all have different gifts and talents and anointings. It's good to find out what they are. So everybody needs somebody at some point. Ecclesiastes chapter 4 talks about two are better than one. You know, if one falls down, the other can pick the other up. That's good to do and encourage one another. And then it's good. 1 Peter chapter 4 talks about how love, you know, when we love one another, we have other people loving us, life is a whole lot better that way. And I like what it says in Proverbs chapter 27, verse 17. It says, as iron sharpens iron, so one person sharpens the other. I hope you get around some people who will sharpen you, you know, sharpen you up and help you, you know, function better in life. Hebrews chapter 10, verse 24 and 25 says, let us consider how we may spur one another on towards love and good deeds, not giving up meeting together, as some are in the habit of doing, but encouraging one another. It's important to encourage one another. Psalms 133, verse 1 says, behold, how good and how pleasant it is for brethren to dwell together in unity. Wow, my time's almost up. Ephesians chapter 4 talks about we have different gifts and how important they are. And also in Acts chapter 2, the people got together and prayed daily in the temple and went to other people's houses. I hope you fit in somewhere. Ask God to show you where it is. Heavenly Father, I pray for each one listening to my voice now that you help them find a place to fit in and know that they're loved. In Jesus' name, amen.